If you're having challenges in your business and you can't really point to something outside of yourself, like a change in the law or a supplier providing substandard parts, it's likely that what's going on is you have a subconscious success block that's holding you back. Subconscious success blocks are messages or rules in your subconscious that sabotage your conscious plans for your business. I've talked about this before. They can show up as repeating patterns, like being on that roller coaster where the money comes in and you have to spend it really fast, but then you have to struggle to make more and you're up and down, up and down. Could be not taking actions or procrastinating. You're not raising your rates or you're not hiring that virtual assistant, even though you know you need to do that to grow. It could even be self-sabotage. Maybe you make yourself sick by working too hard, or you pick a fight with your biggest client just when things seem to be going well. Why did these success blocks make their way into your subconscious in the first place, though? Well, the first thing I want to tell you that it is not your fault. Everyone has these blocks in their subconscious. And you can usually trace them back to some old programming that came in a number of different ways. Maybe you had explicit messages that were spoken to you directly or around you that you then internalized. Maybe you were a boisterous kid and one parent was like, just don't be so loud, please, don't be so loud. And you internalize, I'm too loud. I shouldn't speak up. I should be quiet. Well, that might be just what you needed to do at age 12. But when you're 42 and you're trying to get the message out about your business, that's going to hold you back. That would be a message spoken to you, but that explicit message spoken around you might show up as parents criticizing people for being lazy. And then that little kid hears that and, well, I don't want to be criticized. I don't want mom and dad mad at me. I guess I have to work hard. If I don't work hard, then I'm lazy. Or maybe, and this is a really tough one, I have to always be working. I've seen that with clients. It's extremely wearing. Maybe you had an implicit message that you internalized. This would be something that you observed and then you internalized. This can happen where you grow up in a family where there's a struggle around money. So the little kid looks around, sees the family struggling with money and decides, well, that's what we do. I'm supposed to struggle with money too. And then they grow up, and even though consciously they've learned something new, something different, subconsciously there's still that belief that I'm supposed to struggle with money. And so they make it happen. It can happen from experiences you had that led to certain decisions. So one example would be being bullied as a kid. Let's say you're fourth grade, you're being bullied, you internalize the message, I have to hide to be safe, or it's not safe to be seen. You probably needed that in fourth grade. You don't need that as an entrepreneur, as a business leader. As you'll notice, I'm talking about a lot of these internalized rules that come from childhood. And they come with the reasoning of the child. That's when they were internalized. And that keeps you stuck at that level when you're going to take action. Now, I mentioned a lot of parents. That can happen, but can also happen, you might get messages from grandparents or teachers, coaches, other kids, bosses. Now, that would be after you grow up. And that's another point. It doesn't have to happen in childhood. Sometimes it happens when you're an adult, particularly when it's something powerful that happens. Let's say you had an employee steal from you. This has happened to clients. They internalize the message that it's not safe to hire anyone. I'm never going to do that. No way. Well, a couple years go by and you're thinking, well, yeah, that happened then, but now I know what to look for. I can get a good person in place. I really need that. And yet when you try to get yourself to get that ad out, to schedule some interviews, you really find yourself dragging your feet. It goes back to that experience. It can come in, they can be internalized from religious or spiritual messages at any age, often in childhood. Think of that old saying, money is the root of evil. Money is the root of all evil. Now, if you internalize that as a kid, it doesn't matter if you're an adult and you've discovered that. Actually, that's a mistranslation. Really what it is the love of money is the root of all evil. Doesn't matter. Your subconscious is still playing the money's the root of all evil message. And if money's the root of all evil, you don't want that. No, thank you. Take it away. At least subconsciously. And that's what runs the show. There's messages around money not being spiritual. That comes in a lot. One that I've been seeing lately is that I should always be giving to others. Giving is a good thing. Don't get me wrong here. But if you have internalized a rule that I should always be giving, it's better to give than to receive, then what you might end up doing is not allowing in what you need for your business to thrive. More money, frankly, is quite often what that's preventing from coming in. It can also lead to burnout, to exhaustion, to illness. So that needs to be tempered with, yeah, it's great to give. It's wonderful. It should probably be a part of my business. Yes, I want that as part of what I do in my business. But if it's the main driver, if it's the only thing I'm allowing, because subconsciously I'm not allowed to receive, I just have to give, I'm not going to be in business very long. You can get messages from the community, particularly around money being bad. I've seen that. Growing up on the West Coast, growing up in an Eastern Bloc country, that you can get that same message. Don't have more money than the people around you. You might get from media messages. Think about the TV show The Simpsons. Mr. Burns is the boss. He's the boss for the whole town, as far as I can tell. And he is one bad dude. He's just evil. He's bad. So maybe as a kid you watched that and you thought, well, bosses are bad. Internalize that message. As an adult, why would you ever want to be a boss? Why would you ever hire somebody? Because then you'd be a boss and then you'd be bad. That's the way this kind of thinking goes. You can also look at this coming in from movies and books. A common message is that rich people are evil. Think about Mr. Potter from It's a Wonderful Life, stealing the money from Jimmy Stewart's savings and loan. How awful is that? And then there's the Malfoys in the Harry Potter books and movies. And then if you look at, say, the Hunger Games books and movies, you've got that the defiant poor. They're struggling for their lives. And then there's those awful rich people in the big city who their focus is on the wrong thing. And they're taking as sport people killing each other. Who wants any of that? Nope, I don't ever want to be rich. Nope. And yes, I am talking about your subconscious, because consciously you can know, it's just a book, that's just a movie, or you've grown up and you're like, okay, well, that was in the past. I needed it then, I don't need it now. But in the present, if your subconscious hasn't been changed, it's still playing those old rules, no amount of willpower or logic is going to get you fully beyond that subconscious message. If you've got a block in your subconscious, it's going to at least, the very least, take some energy for you to push past it. And that's energy you could use for something better. And if that block is really big, it's going to stop you cold. No matter how much consciously you want something, how much you know it's okay to have it, you're going to come up against a brick wall. So if you don't want to be slowed down or stopped, you need to dig up these subconscious success blocks that you have in your subconscious and then release them. The best way I've found, the most effective, the way to clear them away for good is tapping. And that's what I do in my MVP clubs. These are small groups of women leaders where we get together, we identify, and we tap to release the subconscious success blocks that hold women entrepreneurs and other leaders back in 3 different areas: mindset, visibility, and profitability. MVP. If you're curious whether the MVP Club can help you release your own subconscious success blocks, just reach out. Let's talk about what's going on with you and see if there's a fit with the MVP Club. Don't wait though. We're starting soon, and the new one is almost full. Until I see you again, happy tapping.